Shocking Grizzlies trade incoming. One writer proposing a wild trade involving those two gentlemen right there, the top two picks of the 2019 NBA draft, Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, joining forces together. What would that look like? Would that even work? And what would the Grizzlies get in return? We're going to break that all down in just a moment. But what's going on, everybody? Jared Alatorre with another episode of Grizzlies Digest. But before we get into the content, we've noticed that 89% of you who watch these videos are not yet subscribed to the channel. We got a lot of offseason content coming your way, so if you want to stay up to date with us here on Grizzlies Digest for what could be a chaotic offseason, smash that subscribe button down below, and you'll never miss another upload from us. It's free, it's easy, hit that subscribe button. So, going into the content, as we said earlier, Ja Morant teaming up with Zion Williamson in New Orleans. So, the two know each other from about 7 or 8 years back. They're on the same AAU team, the top two picks of the 2019 NBA draft. Given their injury history, would that even work? And one writer proposing, well, it could, just solely because of the offensive and defensive presence of both guys, their respective games. They both have very different approaches to the game, but is it something that could actually work out, or is it just a failed project? As we talk about here, is it even worth it? Mr. Buckley proposing that the Pelicans trade Dejounte Murray, Herbert Jones, and a 2026 first-round pick to the Grizzlies for Ja Morant, who was AAU teammates with Zion Williamson, as we just talked about. If they could just stay upright, they destroy defenses in transition and overpower them on pick and rolls, Buckley writes. There is legitimate three-headed monster potential with those two and Trey Murphy III, plus New Orleans would still have a supporting cast around it. So when you talk about Dejounte Murray, Herb Jones, we'll get into them in just a moment, but you talk about Ja Morant and how he's a generational talent. He is the city of Memphis, right? Joel Embiid, he is Philly. Jokic, he is Denver. Giannis, he is Milwaukee. Bam is Miami. Wembanyama is San Antonio. Luka was Dallas until he was hilariously traded to the Lakers. But trading away a generational superstar is unfortunately not out of the picture anymore. It's like nobody's untouchable in the NBA. And obviously Ja Morant, much respect to him, but he is not Luka Doncic, all right? We thought that Luka was one of the more untouchable guys in the league, but if he's not, then Ja, unfortunately, is definitely not. So, Dejounte Murray provides a lot of offense. He's been getting better every year. He has an all-star to his resume. Herb Jones is a younger guy who's been getting better every year too, but it's his defense that really is an attention getter for Grizzly fans if this trade actually does go through. But Herb Jones, I mean, he's got his numbers in double digits now with points per game. Dejounte Murray, he's in that 20-plus points per game now. And going into the details a little bit more, just a kind of an overview, Williamson was the first overall pick in the 19 draft. And the two-time All-Star has played in just 45% of his possible games with New Orleans. So this is obviously a negative to if this trade actually does go through. But Ja Morant and Zion Williamson, they're friends. They know each other well. And this would be a reunion unlike any other that we've seen before. Morant signed a 5-year, $197 million extension with the Grizzlies in 2022. The guard has never played in more than 67 games in a season. So now we're getting into both guys having injury problems and why this project could actually backfire. So from the Grizzlies side, you're like, okay, so we got increased offensive production along with defense. And defense is what they really, really need after looking at the second half of the 24-25 season for Memphis. Williamson has appeared in 30 games for the Pelicans, averaging 24.6 points a game, 7.2 rebounds a game, just over 5 assists. Meanwhile, Morant has appeared in 50 games for Memphis, averaging 23.2 points, 4.1 rebounds, just over 7 assists. So if Memphis does decide to trade Morant this summer, it will be intriguing to see which teams pursue a trade for the Murray State product. So, obviously, there are talks about which of the big three might just go, right? So, you talk about Desmond Bane and how there might be pieces to move in. There might be pieces to move with Memphis and another team. Desmond Bane, I mean, he's an attractable talent, and it's not going to be hard or surprising to see if he actually gets traded for Jaren Jackson. He's looking for that supermax extension, so that's a little bit more complicated. But for Ja Morant, he has this history. He has an injury history. So when you think about all those three guys and Zach Kleiman going, well, it's going to be a busy off season for us, we should expect that. After what we saw in the second half of last season, we saw guys break down at the worst possible time. But who is going to be moved? That's the only question. But if the Memphis Grizzlies were to get Dejounte Murray and Herb Jones, watch Dejounte Murray. He has been improving every year. He knows exactly what to do in the pick and roll. He is a guy who just looks for a shot in the paint, works well off the screen. He's a phenomenal shooter. As he fires it up from deep over Jaylen Brown. Then right here, a routine shot off a screen. 3, good. And that's Dejounte Murray. He is very, very good and a very, very talented player. So increased offensive production for Memphis. Let's say if Luke Kennard is having an off night. All right, let's say Aldama is having the same off night. You got still 3 valuable weapons to go to. You got Jackson, you got Dejounte Murray, you've got Herb Jones, who can also hit shots as well, but Scottie Pippen Jr., it's hard to see him fold, especially if Pippen Jr. were to get those increased minutes. I think he could be a first-string point guard for Memphis. He's proved it all along. I mean, he hasn't folded. In some of the biggest games of his life, he's played phenomenal. And I fully think that he can take on the role of being that first-string point guard for Memphis. But then going into Herb Jones. It's his defense, right? Watch here. Good rotation. The block off of Mikal Bridges. And this was in the first round series against Phoenix back in 22. Makes the steal, goes inside, count it, foul, endorses the contact. He's got great size, great length, and I think he could be a phenomenal force on defense because, again, that's what Memphis really needed. It was no problem going down the court and scoring in a matter of 6 seconds or less, right? Memphis, they would do that all the time in the games that they were winning, but you'd mostly see it in garbage time action when they were down about 7 points with about less than 2.5 minutes to go, and they would need a quick basket with Desmond Bane or Ja Morant or Scottie driving down the court and scoring a layup. I mean, they're a very talented group on offense. And sometimes, like we talked about with Luke Kennard, he just didn't show up in the last month of the season. And he's one of the more consistent shooters, but the last month, a lot of fans are looking at him right now saying, what happened, right? So what happens with Luke Kennard? What happens with Aldama? And for the young guys like Jalen Wells, Zach Edey, Scottie Pippen, just keep doing what you're doing. And then you add a couple of those pieces around, and it doesn't seem as radical. Of course, when you trade a generational superstar, obviously people are going to react. You saw the way Dallas reacted with Luka. This would be the same because Ja Morant is Memphis, and trading him would, the city would blow up. I mean, and not literally, but I mean they would be in a firestorm on social media saying, well, why are we doing this? We're getting this and this, but I'm thinking big picture ahead. I'm thinking of injury history, and I'm thinking of Zion and Ja, if they would even click together. So you got 3 factors, but that's why Zach Kleiman, he gets paid the big bucks. That's why he's the GM, and that's why he's going to be making moves this offseason. Just a matter of which potential big 3 guy actually gets moved. But this is one that's very wild. It would be just incredible if something like this had happened. The city of Memphis, they'd have a lot of thoughts about it, a lot of opinions they would have about it. But that's going to do it for this video. Jared Alatorre saying thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Grizzlies Digest. If you do like this video, you can like this video, comment on this video, share this video, leave a comment down below on what you would think about Ja Morant teaming up with Zion in New Orleans, Dejounte Murray and Herb Jones in Memphis. Your thoughts and opinions about that. But that's going to do it for this video. We'll have a lot more off-season content coming your way. Jared Alatorre saying so long, thank you so much, and of course, peace.